Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today. As always, today's topic is going to be testing. Women will test you. Why do women test you? How do women test you? We will get to this right after the intro. But first, like and subscribe. Do it now or you'll forget. I forget all the time. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Why do women test you? How do women test you? What do they get out of it? Do they sit around and think about how they're going to test their man? Do they sit around with their girlfriends and talk about how they tested their man, how they're going to do it? Do they plan it out? Is it a rational, logical thing they do? No, it's done, we'll say subjectively. They don't even think about it. It's a subconscious thing they do. They've been doing it for thousands of years. I'll get called 13th century for this probably. Yesterday, again, someone told me, you need to go back to the 16th century with your ideas. Okay, well, let's see how well the modern woman is doing nowadays. But that's another topic for another video. Testing. Why do they do that? Well, because thousands of years ago, not even that long really, hundreds of years ago, if you didn't have a man who was strong, he would get taken in by some swindler or some road thief or somebody, or he couldn't stand up and save you. You have to have a man that's strong. Yeah, all women need a strong man. Well, nowadays they think they don't because a lot of these women think they're men. They don't need no man. I'm a strong, independent woman. Yeah, they're a strong, independent woman until the assaulter comes up on the street and then they want you to protect them because they can't protect themselves. Well, I can carry a gun or I got my mace. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something about that. You get somebody who's wound up, a determined person, that mace isn't going to stop them. Think about it. How many times do the police tase someone? They might have to do it a couple times before it drops that guy. You get a guy wound up on drugs. I'll tell you what, one time when I was in Guatemala, I was out with my wife on the street, and this guy come up trying to get money from us, and that sucker, he wasn't drunk, but he was cranked up on something. That son of a bitch was kind of wild. Anyway, I told him to get the fuck out of, just get the fuck out of here. Then he got smart with my wife, so I grabbed a summons and threw him out in the street, and he hit his head on the rocks. Anyway, he was wound up. So what I'm telling you is, women test you for this very reason. Can you protect them when you're out? I protected my women and my children more times than once. I had to do it physically, okay? There's certain places in the world where there's not police on every corner. And even here in the U.S., you can't rely on the police to come all the time. So don't get pissed off because your woman throws these tests up at you. Because she needs to know that you're a strong, independent man. That you're a strong man that can take care of her. It's very important for her. A lot of you guys get pissed off at women because of the way they are. Why not learn women's nature and understand how they're wired and why they do what they do? You don't get pissed off at your car because you don't understand it, do you? If it breaks down, well, you might get pissed off if it breaks down. but you find someone that can fix your car for you. In this case, find someone who knows the nature of women and learn how women are. There are many books and things out there also. So if you don't understand women's nature, it's nobody's fault but your own. Have I ever been pissed off at a woman for the way they are? Of course I have. It's natural. But do you stay pissed off, or do you try to figure out what the hell you need to know so you can deal with them better? It's just the way life is. You have to learn women's nature. Now, how do they test you? Well, let's see. I'll give you a couple examples that I experienced in my life. And I've failed the test many times too. Sometimes I've passed. I've passed more times than I failed because I've been with quite a few women, all right? Been married 4 times. I've had 10 kids. And I still date young, beautiful women in their 20s. So here you go. One time I was out of the country, and we get out of the car, a taxi, and down in like South America, Latin America, the cars are not made quite as, they're different, okay? They have some of the same brands of cars, but they're different. And I got out and I slammed the door, as I always do up here. She looked at me like, "What are you doing slamming that door?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, you don't slam the doors like that down here." I said, "Okay." So anyway, the next day or 2 days later, or maybe the next time I went there, I got out of the car and I slammed the door again. And she acted like, "Well, why'd you slam that door?" I said, "I didn't slam it. I purposely tried to shut it easy, so it wouldn't be slammed." Okay, first off, that shows that I was probably worried about what she was going to think. And second, I argued with her about it. I told her I didn't slam it. She continued to say I did slam it. First mistake was I give a shit what she thought about how I shut the door. Second was I argued with her about it, which shows that I need her to agree with me, or I need her approval. Failed those two. I failed that test. Another time, and these things don't amount to shit, really. Basically what you do when they test you is you just blow it off. Or in this test that I'm telling you about now, okay? Another time, I think I left the shower running in the hotel room we were staying in. Okay, and then she's like, "You shouldn't leave that water running, the water's valuable." I'm like, "Fuck, I'm paying for it, I'm gonna leave it running." Anyway, I argued with her about it just a little bit. What I could have done, and what you need to do, is just say, "I'm paying for the water." And if she wants to argue about it, just ignore her. Don't pay any attention to her. You're paying for the water. If you want to let the damn water run, let it run. Okay, those are just a couple. Another one might be you're going to pick her up for the first or second time, and she calls you and wants to change the time, maybe to another day or later on that night. And okay, so what you do there is, I'm not saying you can never agree with her time. She's got a good valid reason, but if she just calls you up to change it, she wants to see if you're going to stand by what you said the first time. I would recommend not changing it. Like maybe you're supposed to meet at 8. She calls you up and says, "Hey, can we wait till about 9 or 10 to meet? I got some friends that came over and I want to spend some time with them." Hey, you know what? You're a busy man. You know what you can do? You can do the takeaway. You tell her, say, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we do it sometime when you got a little more time?" Leave it at that. She'll either go ahead and keep the date or she won't. But if her interest is high enough in you, she will keep the date, or if she allows you to cancel, she'll call you back and want to see you again. But they do these things because they need to know what kind of a man you are. They may have been attracted to you initially because of your looks or whatever situation you were in, or something about you they liked. Now they're seeing if you are a real man, or if you're going to supplicate to her like the biggest majority of the simps do. There are many forms of tests. As I said, they test you because for thousands of years they needed a man to protect them. They still do, but they don't think they do because they're being raised and programmed to believe that men and women are equal, and we're not. Hey, equal in the eyes of God, I agree, but not equal physically, biologically, and emotionally. All these things, we're different, okay? Men and women are not the same, which is obvious by when the transgenders started entering into the women's sports. We see what's happening there. It's like they've kind of cut their own throats, really, to say it, to use a metaphor, because we are not equal. And a lot of them want this equal pay. Hey, I'm all for equal pay for equal work, but it's got to be the same. Why would I want to pay a woman the same as I would a man if she can't do the same work? And another thing they want is this maternity leave. And I've even heard some of the men are wanting that now. There's another thing. What's more vulnerable than a pregnant woman and a woman right after she's had the baby? Tell me they don't need men to protect them. A lot of people say, I'm old-fashioned. I have old thinking. Women are still women, the same as they were 1,000 years ago. And men are still, well, sometimes in the U.S., I don't know if men are still men or not, but they're becoming very feminine and weak, it seems to me. Mostly in the cities and the rural areas. You get out in the country, and it's not near as bad. There's still quite a few hard-working men out there that are still men. Now, whether they know how to deal with women or not, that's a whole other deal, and especially how to deal with, we'll call them city women. But you need to know these things. If you don't, and you go out there and try to deal with women, what's going to happen is they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to use you. I mean, there's women out there that just use guys to go out and eat, to get a ride somewhere, for whatever they need, to take them to their boyfriends. And a lot of these guys do it because they think they need to be a nice guy. Well, I recommend reading Dr. Robert Glover's book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. If you find yourself being around women but never doing anything with them physically, but just taking them here, taking them there, listening to what they cry about their ex-boyfriend, the Giga Chad that doesn't treat them right, but yet they keep going back to them. So that's something you need to be aware of. You know, you can be too nice to women. Nice guys finish last with women, but nice women finish first with men. Quite a contrast there. All right, that's all I have time for today. Hope this has been of value to you. Check out my books on Amazon, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. And if you'd like to get my help personally, Mark's Inspiration is my website. And check out, what else check out? I guess that's it. All right, time to go. Out to work today. Nice and hot. I love working. Take care.